Do you have a bucket list? And if so, give me 3 things that are on there.
That's a good one. I mean, I kind of consider my list of books I want to read to be somewhat of a bucket list.
Of course.
Like I have a lot of books that I'm interested in reading.
I'm with you.
And I hope to read all of them before I die. So maybe that's part of a bucket list.
Yeah.
I would like to go to Italy.
Ooh, I would go back to Italy with you.
I know you went without me. How dare you?
I didn't mean to. My grandmother took me.
Graham didn't take me. Hi, Graham.
Hi, Graham. Graham's our biggest podcast fan.
Graham is our biggest fan.
We love you, Graham.
We do love you, Graham.
Yeah, but we.
I would love to.
I would go back because I went for a day. Basically, I mean, we were in.
You were in
Venice
a couple
for
different
day,
spots.
Went to Florence.
You went
Rome.
to Pompeii.
Yes. But it was like one day, and it was all like
it was on
boom,
a cruise.
Bam, boom, yeah. And you know me, I like to ease into a vacation. I don't like to be too rushed.
I think we talked about that last time.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, seems like a fun vibe.
Yeah.
You know, fun people, good food.
It was a lot of fun there. I really,
yeah.
And I hate traveling, like we said.
Yeah.
But I think Italy is one of those places where it's like, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Especially like outside of Rome and, you know, in like more of the country. Like Florence was super cool.
Tuscany would be beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
The Cinque Terre would be beautiful.
So that's 2. You got another one, or are you just going to hold it with that?
I mean, that's really all that comes to mind right now is I really enjoy a lot of things about my life.
Yeah.
Spending time with family. And I just hope to do a lot more of the same over many, many years. You know what I mean?
That's such an interesting point because that's very much how I feel. Like I don't have any like when people hear bucket list, they hear like, oh, I want to climb Mount Everest or I want to dive or whatever.
You and I are not very adventure-y kind of people.
No, not at all. In fact, I would say opposite of adventure.
I don't want to skydive. I don't want to climb Mount Everest. Yeah. I don't want to go to 10 different countries.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm trying to think. I'm
trying to think what some like standard bucket list things are.
I mean, top of the list is always like, oh, I want to climb a mountain or I want to do something. Okay, here's one.
We would like to run a 5K.
Run a 5K, but that's not like bucket list material.
Bucket list.
Because for me, a bucket list is something where it's like it's going to take a substantial amount of time and effort.
And it's like a big thing.
Right.
That you
5K,
want to do.
We could roll out of bed tomorrow and go run a 5K. It would suck.
Yeah.
But we could do it. Like we're in the physical shape to be able to do it right now.
Yeah.
A marathon though. And this is something I've been kicking around a little bit is like.
Really?
Well, yeah, because as a powerlifter and a powerlifting enthusiast, I love powerlifting, but I am getting to the point in my life where I'm about to be 30. I may have, if I'm lucky, if I don't take any catastrophic injuries, maybe another 10 years being able to compete at this level.
Yeah.
Right? And that's if I'm lucky.
Mm-hmm.
So I've started to think about like what's fitness life look like post
when
powerlifting.
You're 50, 60.
And I'm thinking about getting more into endurance sports. That's why I've kind of started running. I'm doing a little bit more heart rate training, stuff like that.
Yep.
So I think a marathon would be...
Wow.
And I haven't... It's not, written in stone, but it is...
It might be interesting to do at some point.
I'm kicking the idea around a little bit.
Okay.
I think a lot of people like... A bucket list for me, it just seems like kind of a stupid thing.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like, it's an easy way to say, oh, I really want to do this, but then never hold yourself accountable to it.
I think the deadline is so far away that you can let yourself off the hook for actually doing anything.
Action any of these plans to actually get there.
Mm-hmm.
So like, sure, you can say, oh, I want to do this before I die, but death is such a nebulous idea, especially here in America. It's like, we don't really dwell on death the way that a lot of places in the eastern part of Asia and like death is such a bigger part of their culture that they kind of meditate on that idea a little bit more than we do.
Yeah.
So I think if you talk to people over there, it's really interesting to hear their perspective on like doing things in a timely manner or not taking the time that you have for granted. That's a big trope in like a lot
really
of Japanese
important.
cinema and even a lot of Japanese novels that we read. It's like, you don't know. And it is like their emphasis on like second lives or like reincarnation and stuff like that. The second time you come through, you want to take advantage of all of the time that you have because you know how short the first one was.
Yeah.
Like there's a big trope in that. This is really philosophical. All that to say, like, you give yourself an out with a bucket list, at least in my opinion.
Right. It's like, okay, on my bucket list, I want to go to Italy. Well, I mean, I hope to live 80, 90 years.
Right.
That gives me
a lot
60,
of time.
70 years to get around to doing that. When I could say, man, I really want to go to Italy. Let's save up for the flights. Let's start researching. Let's start planning it out now.
I think putting a shorter time frame on things creates more urgency and creates more of a desire for action. Like I always look at things from like a behavioral change perspective, because that's basically what I do is I get people to change some behaviors to help them achieve the goal of their dream body or getting healthier or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I'm always thinking about behavior, and we find that these big macro goals don't work.
Specificity matters.
They work in that initial push to get you going a lot of the times, right? But when you come up against that first piece of resistance, if you don't have anything like actionable or more finite or more specific, as you said, you're going to fall away from it.
Yeah.
So having this macro goal of I want to go to Italy,
great.
The minute you look at flights to go to Italy tomorrow and they're $1,000, that's the resistance.
And it's like, I'll go in 20 years.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got time. Exactly.
For me, I do have goals that I do. Like I want to squat 600 pounds before all is said and done.
But that's not bucket list. That's something you want to do this year.
Yeah. But realistically,
it might take you longer.
It might take me longer.
And that's fine.
I need that urgency, because what's so funny is in my training recently, like within the past couple of weeks, I've really ratcheted up my mindset and my intensity in the gym, because I had a little bit of a tendency to kind of hold back for fear of injury. And I'm realizing that the human body is more resilient than I give it credit for a lot of the times. And I want to talk about this a lot more. We'll probably dedicate a big chunk of an episode to that. But I can feel these minor tweaks and these minor pains in the gym and tell myself like, hey, this is part of like I was deadlifting last week and I was doing a deficit deadlift. So you pull off of a block. So the range of motion has really increased. So there's a lot more emphasis on my lower back.
Okay.
Right. And the first set I did, I was like, I'm going to do heavier weight than what I think I should be doing. As a beginner, I wouldn't recommend this, but I'm skilled. I've been in this game for a long time. I can pick my weights a little bit more intelligently.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, the program is dictating this. I'm going to add 5 or 10 kilos, whatever it is. And I go for the first set and I do the first 2 reps and I feel like it's not even pain. It's like the whisper of pain in my lower back, or a sensation that I don't normally feel with the regular deadlift, right? And 2 years ago, I would have said, no more.
Whoa.
We're done.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch the exercise or whatever. I sat down. I did some movement. I was like, okay, it's not repeatable. I don't feel the pain in any regular movement. It might just be a new sensation that I'm not used to. And the sensation stayed for the next couple of sets, but I made it through, and then...
And you're fine.
No issue, right? What was I even talking about? I don't even know how I got on that subject.
Just like resiliency and...
Oh, the human body being very... Yes.
Yeah.
So you have to put that in perspective of like, you only get so many times to get under the bar or to do an exercise. So my mindset is shifting very much towards the body's resilient. Let me push it even a little bit further. That may backfire on me. I don't think it will, because I'm also
I think you're very experienced in the gym and you have had injuries before. So I think that you have a little better frame of reference than maybe like a beginner gym goer.
Yeah. And I've experienced the difference between pain and injury, the difference between pain and sensation.
And discomfort.
And I have come back from injury. I think the first injury is always the hardest, because you think that this is going to be your lot in life forever.
Yeah.
And 99% of the time, it's not.
Yeah.
There have been catastrophic injuries happen in the gym where your life is altered forever. There have been people that have experienced that. But the majority are never going to experience something like that.
Yeah.
Even the bad injuries like a pec tear or a quadriceps tear, like even those after 4 to 6 months of good rehab, people are usually back to where
I was going to say it can take a long time. It can take a lot of effort, but yeah, I mean, if you're in the gym and you're really worried about something, err on the side of caution, probably.
Yeah. I'm not telling you to go and just like throw an extra 300 pounds on the squat bar. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the fear mindset can hold us back.
Yeah.
And you can say, oh, I'm just going to do, a set of 8 here. I could probably squeeze out an extra 4 or 5 reps. But
I don't want to strain my back. Right. It's like, well, your back's not going to get stronger if you don't go to failure.
Maturity in the gym is understanding like your mind and your body are disconnected. Always. Because the rational and objective mind would never allow you to get under these heavy weights. Right? It's just not safe in your mind.
Right.
But if you have done the work to train your body properly, then you can overwrite that and just say, you know what? I know what I'm doing. Like I can handle this, obviously in a safe way. But I think that that's really powerful. And that goes back to the fact that like I wouldn't have had that amount of urgency had I not set the goal for this year. So that's what we were talking about, bringing it all full circle. It's like, I want to do this year. So with that in mind, I'm willing to push myself a little extra. Whereas if I had just said, I want to squat 600 pounds before I die, I may not have had that same level of urgency to really push myself in the gym. Like it's so mental for me right now, more so than it is physical.
Yeah.
And I'm doing all of my programming by myself now, whereas I had been using a coach. And I loved that experience, but I really wanted to build my own self-efficacy. Because I feel like for me, if I'm responsible for my own self and I have to do the work that I have planned, I get more out of it.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're the one that's building the program and then you're going in to execute the program and you skip the last couple exercises because you're tired,
you're not accountable to anybody.
So it's like, oh, cool, I'm good.
And nobody's going to know.
But then you're not going to experience the results you want to. So I have really been forcing myself to become more intelligent with my programming outside of the gym and then executing the program in the gym. So I don't disparage anybody for having a bucket list.
I think it works for a lot of people. I think a lot of people have fun, like dreaming about their next adventure. I think it's more of like a fun activity rather than anything that people take seriously.
That has been my experience with it as well. When I've had discussions with people, it's like, oh, it's a fun, like hypothetical. It's a good way to get to know somebody because you learn kind of what they prioritize. Yeah. Like you and I are never going to say climb Mount Everest, but if we come in contact with somebody that says, I want to climb Mount Everest, they may be more adventurous than us, more outdoorsy. That's awesome. So it's more of like a personality kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I do think that we are looking for any way to let ourselves off. And I include myself in that. And I know you include yourself.
I do.
That's just human nature.
Yeah. Yep.
And the immediacy of a short-term goal can really help in that
100%. Yeah. Because it is easy to let yourself off the hook.
It's really easy.
Oh, yeah.
We are excuse machines. I mean,
I know I am.
Well, that's why I find like today I didn't go run.
Yeah.
Usually I run on my off days from the gym, one or the other. But today, this morning, I woke up and my body's just like crying out for a rest day. Like the product of experience, I kind of know when I need a rest day and when I'm just being lazy. And this morning, like the initial thought is always, oh, don't go. When you first wake up, you don't. So I usually give myself like 15, 20 minutes to kind of wake up and realize like, oh, dude, that was just your lizard brain telling you not to do anything.
You just hadn't woken up yet.
Right.
You can go.
Don't make any decisions like right after you wake up because you will always choose the path of least resistance, like 100%.
You will always choose to go back to bed.
Oh, dude. So anyway, I woke up, got my coffee, did my morning devotional and was like, okay, you know what? My body is feeling beat down.
Like I feel bad.
This is not a mental thing. This is a physical thing. Yeah. So I took the time off, right?
Yeah. And you're going to go in a couple of days on your next off day and you're going to run then.
Right. So, I'm not saying like this mentality of immediacy needs to permeate your life to the point where you
can never take a break.
Yourself down.
Right.
It's balance.
It's all about balance.
Dude,
that's right.
Everything is about balance. It's so crazy. Like I give these little comments and these tips, and again, don't get me started on the shorts, the YouTube shorts and the Instagram. I just hate it. But anyway, you give all these little tips, and there is never a tip or a short that I put out that somebody couldn't come with a response.
Like a caveat.
Exactly. Well, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Life is that.
Right.
So just always with any advice.
We live in a gray area. In
any
everything.
Advice that we give on this podcast or anything that we talk about, always understand like there is a situation where that advice is not going to work. Mm-hmm. It's just so funny that we have to say that. Yeah. Because I think we live in a culture where it's like, he said this one thing. That is the only way that he thinks that I can accomplish results. Like when I put out a stupid reel about it was an outtake when I was talking about protein intake. And the outtake said you should eat every day. A throwaway line. A throwaway line.
It was a mistake. You were not even supposed. It was a blooper. It was literally a blooper.
Video. And I got 3 separate people comment and say, "Well, what about fasting? Don't tell this guy about fasting."
God.
Dude. Brother. Of course you can fast. You could do whatever you want to do.
But like in general, people should eat in general.
This is the problem with nutrition science and exercise science is we have to, if we were so in the weeds, we would never get anything done. We have to start from a position of general. We have to.
Right. In general, eating is important. In general, people should eat every day.
But there are specific cases in which fasting may work better for you or intermittent fasting may work better for you.
Cool.
I'm pleading for more literacy online. I'm pleading for it, for more ability to read context. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's ever going to happen. No. I'm shouting at clouds. Yeah. I understand that. I'm old. But the context is important. Yeah. It's always going to be important.
It is.
You know? And I don't want to disparage anybody for that. But because they may be coming to YouTube or to Instagram for their initial fitness information.
Yeah, and maybe they heard great things about intermittent fasting, and here you are saying you should eat every day. It's like, but wait, I heard about this magic thing called intermittent fasting. What about that? So, sometimes it might be a genuine question from just a point of not having gained a lot of knowledge in the field yet.
And even if it isn't a genuine question, I always try even though
to approach it as if it were.
Some of them are really vitriolic, but I try to approach it as if maybe this is the first time this person's hearing about this concept, because that is more beneficial.
I remember a comment on the short about the weight belt. Yeah. Stables, and somebody said, I thought it was to stabilize my kidneys, and it really helps my kidneys feel better when I'm lifting. And you know what? That is not what it does, but I'm glad it makes you feel good in the gym, and now you've learned something, and maybe it'll take you to the next level now that you know a little bit more. Yes. It was a genuine question.
And it doesn't serve anybody for me to not think that. Yeah. And I'm
fine.
One of the advantages of being a smaller creator is a lot of the times there isn't that barrier between comment and creator. Mm-hmm. Because when you get super huge,
you just can't answer every question. You cannot
answer all the comments. I am in a very unique position where I can, and I take a lot of pride and joy in being able to do that for people. Yeah. Because again, the 5-minute video or the 30-second short may not answer all the questions that you have. Yeah. And I want nothing more than to give you clarity in a certain topic or a certain situation. Mm-hmm. So I love that. And I have to remind myself, even when I come across the comments that just seem like they're trolling me or whatever, it could be a genuine question.
Mm-hmm. It's all about, and this is just life advice in general, but assuming positive regard.
100%.
People have a really hard time doing that in general. Yeah. I think that's the root of a lot of interpersonal problems.
I'm really bad at that.
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, I think a lot of like family arguments, workplace arguments sometimes can stem from just assuming negative regard.
Yeah. I because I am very good at kind of reading people. I'm very good at reading body language, and I can oftentimes take that too far and kind of place in the person that I'm speaking to a meaning or an underlying idea that they're not presenting to me.
Read your insecurities onto them.
So I'm trying to be a lot better with that.
It's hard.
It's really tough. I'm really sympathetic to people that are dealing with that type of thing but at the end of the day, even if they're coming at you with negative regard, it serves no purpose to dwell on that.
Mm-hmm. Or to give it back to them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that,
it just brings everybody down.
Talk about a hard situation to deal with.
It is hard.
Okay, so today I want to talk about macronutrients.
Okay.
Because I think that's a fundamental part of nutrition that maybe a lot of people have heard the surface level of, but they don't really know each and every.
So defining macronutrients, carbs, fats, and proteins.
Yes. Well, what I wanted to do was I wanted to give you a macronutrient and have you tell me what you think they are for, how you would employ them in a body composition change, either gaining weight or losing weight.
Okay.
And what your relationship to them has been from like social media.
Okay.
Right? So the first one we're going to start with is carbs.
Carbs, first impression, love them. Carbs.
Personally, yes.
Love them. They are delicious. Bread, pasta.
Mm-hmm. But what has been your experience with the social media narrative of carbs?
I think you and I both kind of grew up in the low carb 90s.
The 90s were a low carb decade. And the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Atkins.
I think the 90s were low fat. And then the 2000s got to be low carb.
Whatever it was that there was a low fat wave and then a low carb wave.
And we grew up in both of those waves,
Whenever it happened, I don't remember, but yes, you're right.
Yeah, so like I remember people like never eating bread. I guess it must have been in high school.
I think so.
No girls would eat bread.
Well, my favorite movie in the world contributed to that. Mean Girls. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Bread makes you
Is butter a carb?
Dude.
Anyway, but carbs, from what I understand, are important for energy, like short-term energy. If you don't eat any carbs, you're going to feel like tired garbage. To have energy to do physical activity, you need carbohydrates.
That's about it.
They probably don't keep you very full for long. So if you have a high carb diet, you might deal with more hunger.
Okay.
If you're diabetic, probably shouldn't eat a lot of carbs.
Probably stay away from that.
But you do still need them to a certain extent.
Yeah. So I don't want to go super deep on the science here, but yes, carbohydrates break down into forms of energy
sugar.
Right. Glucose, glycogen. The general population uses glycogen as energy, specifically for long bouts of exercise. So you'll see with a lot of endurance athletes, they have to continue to replenish their glycogen stores.
Like people running marathons will have those like carb goo packets,
yes,
and they'll slurp those up.
A lot of bodybuilders will drink carbohydrate powders. So I'd say it's more important as an endurance athlete to be focused on that. Usually in a bout of resistance training between an hour to 2 hours, you're not really going to deplete the glycogen stores as much as an endurance athlete would. You may still deplete them, but the big meme in the powerlifting game is like, the guy that comes in with a bag of gummy worms and he's like, got to get the fast acting sugars just to keep going. And he's doing like a set of squats, taking a 30-minute rest break and then doing another set of squats.
Like he didn't need any, he just wanted gummy worms.
You don't need the gummy worms.
He just likes gummy worms.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I would say that's a great outline of what carbs are.
Yeah.
First and foremost, carbs are not evil or
no,
none of these macronutrients that we talk about in a vacuum are going to make you fat. Impossible, right? It is the context around how these macronutrients are employed that can lead to storage of fat in a calorie surplus.
Right.
Just want to make that very clear. So if you've heard that carbs, a heavy carb diet or a heavy fat diet is going to make you fat, it's wrong.
Right.
Flat out. No doubt about it. Come for me, zealots. I don't care. The data's on my side, baby. Anyway, when we're using carbs, the main thing to think about when we're using carbs, specifically in a calorie deficit, is like you said, they're not very satiating most of the time.
Yeah.
So you can get more bang for your buck with a higher fat, higher protein diet in terms of calorie restriction. If you look at 6 ounces of chicken breast versus 6 ounces of rice, most of the time, the nutrient profile is going to be better in the 6 ounces of chicken.
It's going to keep you fuller longer.
It's definitely going to keep you fuller longer,
yeah.
right? What's so funny about carbs is sometimes with a high carb meal, you're going to feel maybe more bloated or more food baby-ish afterwards.
Yeah.
But that's going to wear off way faster than a protein full meal. In a body composition change in which we're trying to gain lean mass, we
carbs.
really want to employ the carbs because like
you're going to be hungry.
You're going to be hungrier. You're just going to be able to put more food down if it is carbohydrate rather than protein. So fruits are incredible in that case
and they're good for you.
Right. Because the micronutrient profile is also pretty good.
Potato chips.
It's better than the lack of micronutrients in a piece of bread or some pasta, right? You're pretty much just getting the carbs, maybe a little bit of fiber. Anything else on carbs that we're very surface level right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people enjoy carbs. So I think it's, you can still include them in a balanced weight loss diet if that's your goal.
Here's the thing, guys. I am eating 3,000 calories. I'm in a calorie deficit right now. Now, this is because I'm a big boy, so I can be in a deficit at 3,000 calories. But I'm eating 350 to 400 grams of carbs a day. And I have lost 8 pounds in 2.5 weeks. So it is possible to eat very high carb. I like to eat high carb because it gives me more energy.
You work out for 2 hours a day. You need that energy.
Right. And I love the feeling of what I get in the gym from those carbs. Let's move on to fats.
Okay.
What do you know?
So again, there was a wave when we were younger of like low fat.
Yep.
Everything's low fat.
Yep.
So it, I think, has a evil vibe to it. I guess I could say it has a bad rap.
I wonder if they're ever going to try and come for protein in terms of like...
I don't know how you could.
Honestly, though, I think that there are some people that I have heard that a higher protein diet is more cancerous.
Oh my goodness.
I've heard this
floating
around.
We'll get there later.
Yeah.
But I know fats are important for hormone production and regulation.
Absolutely.
They, I think, are more calorie dense per gram.
Yes, they are.
Than carbs or proteins.
Carbs and proteins are 4 calories per gram.
Fats are 6.
Fat is 9.
9.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're in a calorie deficit, you got to track those oils because they do add up quick.
Yep.
There's healthy fats and unhealthy fats.
Yes.
Saturated, unsaturated, trans fats, etc.
Man, I really don't want to get into the weeds on this one.
Yeah, I'm glossing over
fats,
that.
I'd say, honestly, fats right now are going through I think we're going back into a low-fat wave.
Do you? I think people have gone into kind of a pro-fat phase with like the carnivore diet and the keto. So I think we're due for the pendulum to kind of swing back a little bit.
I think what's happening, and this is a little bit more inside of the industry, but I think what's happening is more people are demonizing fat sources. So seed oils is a massive one right now.
Inflammatory oils.
Right. Just huge swaths of people saying never eat this and all.
You can get a little lost in the weeds in your own life.
Definitely get a little lost in the weeds with fats.
If you want to get lost in the weeds, be my guest.
Yeah. I think, honestly, the research is very new, but if you follow the rabbit hole down the research into human clinical trials, most of these seed oils and vegetable oils are relatively healthy in moderation.
As far as we know right now.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There is data in animals that tilt things a little bit more negative. But again, until we see if that data is easily replicatable in humans, those studies are not as strong.
You got to take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You can go on like a crazy, vigilante, getting rid of all the seed oils from your life. If that is important to you,
yes,
do it. I'm not going to tell you not to.
Right.
I think choosing things that are generally considered to be better fats is always a good call. Olive oil, avocado oil, whatever.
But even that,
but like putting a little bit of butter on your piece of homemade bread is probably not going to kill you tomorrow.
Right.
So
I think with fats, you hit the nail on the head. Hormone health is our big key that we want to keep track of.
Yeah. I'm somebody who naturally just kind of prefers lower fat things. So, and I do have some hormone issues. Yeah. I'm predisposed to some hormone issues. So I do try to, add a little extra splash of olive oil in my salad dress, or, find ways to add in some healthy fats, because I just kind of generally don't prefer high fat foods.
Yeah. And I think that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Again, it's all about the balance. When we're talking about leveraging these macronutrients in terms of a body composition change, what's really important is when we're in a deficit, because they are so calorically dense, a lot of the times we pull fats out way faster.
Because it's an easier way to get into a deficit.
Much easier, right?
Yeah.
But then we run into a lot of those hormone issues, which are going to be counterintuitive towards the fat loss goal. So what I have been taught, and what is normally recommended, is that you set first your protein goal, 1 gram per pound of body weight in a deficit. You set second your fat goal, and that doesn't move. That's 30% of your daily calories. And then the rest of it is carbs, because carbs can be put in flux.
Yeah.
Right? They don't have a specific... If you remove carbs, you can still gain energy from fat.
Yeah.
If you remove protein, you're going to lose muscle. If you remove fat, your hormones are going to be in trouble. So those two are more important in the grand scheme of things. So you can play around with your carbs.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the one thing, is we really want to understand, yes, they are going to be more calorically dense. However, the benefits that they are going to give me in terms of my overall hormonal health are going to be more positive on my journey.
You need some fat in your diet.
30%.
Which I think would probably surprise a lot of people.
It's pretty hefty.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a third.
Talking about me specifically, I'm between 80 and 90 grams of fat a day. And I get that from mostly animal products because I am a meat eater. I'm not a vegan. Thank God. But if you are a vegan, this is the thing that I'm really not worried about, but I'm concerned.
You have to make sure that you have to make an effort.
You really do. To be a vegan is very difficult, because to be a vegan in the right nutritional context, you can be a vegan and eat Oreos and French fries and be totally fine. Cool.
Cheese whiz.
That's great. But to have, all these macronutrient and micronutrient bases covered, it's really difficult. You have to be very intentional.
You have to add in the olive oil to your salad dressing and,
And so my fear is the demonization of all of these vegetable oils. I'm wondering, are they just going to be eating 12 avocados a day and that's it? I just don't know where they're going to get it from.
I don't know.
That's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
Finally, my favorite. Protein. What do you know about protein?
You got to have it to be strong.
Yes.
It builds your muscles. You got to eat enough of it. You can get it from animals and plants and beans. It's all over the place. Keeps you full, and it's good for you.
Yeah. I mean, protein, I think, is the one that a lot of people, if I can say one good thing about social media, protein levels seem to be rising across the board. Male, female, new, old, everybody seems to be eating protein.
It's a good thing.
We good. Protein is so incredibly important because of its association with muscle. It's not that protein is magical and it's going to increase your longevity, but protein's association with reducing sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle loss, is so impactful for longevity.
Reduces your likelihood of falls. It improves your balance.
So impactful.
So important. Well, something else that a lot of people don't think about until they're in a position to need to think about it is that protein is very important for wound healing. Working in the rehab center,
that's so true.
I'll see people with, these really horrible pressure ulcer wounds that inhibit them from being able to return home.
Yes.
And so I've done a lot of education with people on eat your protein first. Don't fill up on mashed potatoes, eat your chicken and drink your Ensure and get that protein, because you're going to be having this wound for a long time unless we get some protein in you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who are elderly right now, who grew up during the Great Depression, are not accustomed to eating a high protein diet in their youth.
The general context around when they were coming up was not very protein
Meat was
heavy.
very expensive when they were young.
100%.
It was a really bad time economically. So they ate more vegetables and carbs. So it for a lot of people in their age group, it is difficult to wrap your mind around the importance of protein. It's no, I don't eat all that. It's but you do.
But I also think as the research has moved forward, we're kind of understanding, like if you look back at even 15, 20 years ago, the protein recommendations were a third of what they are now.
I remember in school, the food pyramid, it was like, you got to eat 11 slices of bread every day and
what
like
a travesty
half a chicken breast.
I don't know. I would love to read the history of that.
Of the food pyramid?
Because
I would too.
I have a hard, again, my conspiracy theory brain, I think that it was very heavily influenced by some lobbying forces.
I think it's common knowledge that it was.
But I think, unfortunately, all nutrition science is like that because at the end of the day, you need to fund these studies. Well, who's going to fund the studies? These companies that have a financial stake in the studies.
Yep. Healthcare's the same. Everything's the same.
This is why you got to be very careful. And even if somebody comes at you and says, I got this one study, the totality of evidence. The totality of evidence is what is important. Yep. And even then, we may not be 100% on.
Yeah.
That's
and that's how supplement research is too. Exactly. It's like the company who made the supplement is paying for the research about it. They're not going to pay for something that's against. They're just going to, not publish
supplement companies
a negative study.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, it's important when you are looking at research and trying to make a decision about something in your life. You have to consider, okay, is it reliable?
Yes. So protein specifically, the three main points that I want to make are definitely, as you age, titrate that protein intake up. Mm-hmm. There has been numerous studies that have said past 50, 60, 70, bringing that protein level up is going to do wonders for you to hold on to muscle mass, which is so important. I cannot get that across enough. It's so massive. Like I train people in the gym that are 85, 90, that are doing great because they took care of themselves both in the gym with resistance training to hold on to muscle. And you look at all their diets down the line, very high protein. So that's number one as a general health. In terms of weight gain, let's do this one first because I think a lot of people get this wrong. We touched on this a little bit. Don't overload on the protein.
Protein keeps you full.
Protein keeps you full. Don't overload on the protein if your goal is lean mass gaining because you can leverage those fats that we talked about that are higher calories and the carbs that are easier to eat, gain more weight. Get
enough protein.
Yes.
But you don't need too much.
Yes. And the general recommendation, again, listen to that word. I said general. The general recommendation for resistance trained individuals is between 0.6 and 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. There's a lot of play in there. You can find what works best for you because some people think that you should only do gram per pound of lean body mass, right? Because a lot of the times you'll get into trouble. Like when I was very obese and I was 330 pounds, if I was eating 330 grams of protein, holy moly. Digestive system would have been crazy.
Yeah.
The calories alone off of that would have taken me way out of my calorie deficit, right? So that's why the range is that big, I think.
Okay.
And everybody trends up or down in terms of what they can afford because protein sources are usually more expensive, what they can stomach, what they can digest.
And what they like. You don't like beans.
Hate beans.
I love beans.
Don't like the texture of beans.
I eat beans for protein all the time.
I don't eat a lot of stuff anyway.
Yeah.
I've eaten the same meal for 5 years straight.
We took a very interesting food personality test yesterday of like
food disgust.
Yes, different aspects of food disgust. Mold, raw meat, hygiene, human contaminants, insects, etc. You're
basically across the board.
You were like disgusted by everything.
I am. I don't know what it is. I think it's my relationship with how many times I've been food poisoned, how bad my stomach is generally, even in non-food poisoning.
Yeah, you've got some stomach problems.
I have a very, very sensitive stomach, and I'm a very picky eater. So those two things combined. Yeah.
And you don't really cook, so you just haven't had a lot of exposure to like touching raw meat.
Raw meat gives me the heebie-jeebies. Hair and food definitely gives me the heebie-jeebies. I'm okay with bugs because in Cayman we used to eat outside.
And see, like that was your highest one because I really dislike bugs.
But we used to, every lunch was outside at the picnic table. So you're going to have flies flying around and you just brush them off. Yeah. Like that's fine. But it's so funny.
Like I'm okay with that, but I don't want a dead fly sitting in my meal. That's different to me.
Different. That's a little different.
Like there's a fly in my soup. I'm going to need a different bowl of soup.
I got you. Okay. Back to the protein.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
It's good. It's important.
People are going to like different sources of protein.
So we did increasing weight. Decreasing weight is kind of the exact opposite because again, we want to hold on to muscle tissue and we want to be more full with less food. So we kind of reverse those.
So in that case, a little extra protein is going to serve your goal very well.
When I am instructing and when I'm helping people with deficits, I really, really try and get them 1-to-1, 1 gram per pound, because I found that works best in terms of satiety and holding on to muscle as much as possible. Everybody's different, but with my clients, I have found that usually works the best. You want to really leverage protein with every single meal because that will really help stave off the hunger.
Yeah.
And, 9 times out of 10, if you're not hungry, you're not going to be eating. Sometimes you get the boredom hunger.
Kind of a no-brainer there.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, people don't really think about that. On a diet specifically, it's like, oh, I'm not eating as much as I was, but I'm not hungry, so I don't have the signals to then go and eat.
Yeah.
Because you've leveraged the protein properly, right?
Yeah, right.
So that's macronutrients. Very basic. 101. There's a bunch of other resources, I think, on my channel about that. I put out infographics about them as well on my Instagram if you want to follow me there. Cool. Let's hit the... What do you want to do? You want to do the relationship advice or the fitness question?
I feel like we kind of talked fitness, nutrition already.
Okay, so we can hold on to the fitness question for next week. Okay. I don't know about this relationship advice question.
Okay.
Basically, I put it on here because I kind of wanted to talk about like the meta idea of this rather than the specifics of this one.
Okay.
My girlfriend, 23 years of 1 3/4 years.
That's very specific.
Goodness gracious. Dyed her hair. And I, 22 male, hate it. And it makes me uncomfortable. Okay.
That's it? That's all we get?
No.
Oh, okay.
I can read the body. It's a very, very long.
Oh, okay.
I don't really want to read all of it because he's a 22-year-old. He's just waxing poetic about her and her beauty. I don't know.
Or lack thereof now that she's
So
dyed her
I'll
hair.
read the last little bit to give this guy some context. So I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I love her to death and then some, but this new style feels like a major downgrade. I genuinely don't understand why it's affecting me this bad. I'm genuinely losing sleep over this, and I can't stop thinking about it. I'm aware that I have issues, and I'm probably too sensitive about change. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. So he hates it, basically.
Wow.
So I wanted to pose the question to you. Now, this doesn't really work because you've known me without a beard and with a beard. But if I, out of nowhere, shave my beard one day while you were at work, what do you think your reaction would be?
I prefer you with a beard.
Right. And I prefer myself with a beard, same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'll grow back.
It's not a big deal. What if I said I'm never going to have a beard again? I'm done with a beard. I'm going to just have a mustache.
I would tell you that would not be my preference, but it's your face and I love you.
So this is the question that I really wanted to get into is how much does your partner's preferences weigh on your decisions in terms of clothing, hairstyle, all that? What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really interesting question. I think that ultimately it is, you have autonomy over your body and your choices.
Yes.
But I think a lot of people want to feel attractive to their partner.
Yeah.
And so might welcome like input. I think it's something that you should wait to be asked about before giving your opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you should tell your girlfriend, this haircut's really not doing it for me. I really liked it that other way.
Yeah.
But like maybe next time she goes for a haircut, she might say, hey, I'm going for a haircut. What do you think I should do? And that might be your door to say, you know what? I think you look really hot when you have bangs, for example.
Yeah.
Or like, I think you look the best. For me personally, I think whatever would be a great look for you. And I would be really like attracted to you.
It's so funny. Like there is nothing that you could do that would make me stop loving you. Right.
Same.
But early on in a relationship, I think that's where the danger zone kind of comes in. Like my ideal for you would be for you to dye your hair black.
I'm not going to do that.
You're never going to do that. I have talked about that
our whole
relationship, right?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You could dye your hair red and I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's a preference that I have that I've communicated to you. You said, I don't really feel like doing that.
Yeah.
The upkeep on that is a lot. I don't love it. I like the way that my hair looks now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Fine.
But I think early in a relationship, on both sides, there needs to be a little bit like doing this without telling him, probably a little rough.
I don't.
You don't think so?
I'm surprised that they didn't talk about it before.
That's my thing.
Like we kind of talk about everything with each other.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I don't know.
She might be really excited. Like I said, my advice would not be to volunteer your own opinion about your partner's appearance.
Well, I've gotten tattoos without telling you.
Did you?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
I got this one on my leg.
You told me about that.
Did
I knew about that. Yeah.
So Sarah does not like leg tattoos.
I do not prefer them.
I have a tattoo on my leg, and I'm going to probably get 2 or 3 more of them because I'm really hairy.
And that's really the
and
best
the legs
spot
are
for
the
them.
prime real estate, man.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know that it's not my preference to have like really it's not leg tattoos so much as it is like a bunch of random tattoos all over your leg.
You have just described exactly what my legs are going to look like.
And that's fine.
That's fine.
I don't care.
You really don't think she should have told him?
I don't know. I'm somebody who I am not very decisive.
Okay.
And so anytime I'm going to do anything, I talk to 3 different people about it. You being one of them. Like, I don't know.
Your mom and your sister.
Yeah, pretty much. So like, I don't know, 2 years ago, I had long hair like I do right now, and I wanted to donate it. So I ended up cutting it really short, and I was like nervous about it. And I was like, oh, do you think I should cut it? And you were like, yeah. You look great no matter what. So go for it. But I was like nervous about such a big change. So I did talk about it. She might be somebody who is, not afraid of changing her hair. Maybe she changes her hair all the time, and this is just the first time he hasn't liked it. I know a lot of girls who love to try different hairstyles, different hair colors, and it's just kind of like a no big deal kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's something that, they're going to dye their hair blue once and then probably never again, or at least not for a number of years. So it might not be something that is a big deal to her.
This person specifically.
Yeah, it might just be like I'm going to like dye my hair green.
I get it.
Isn't that fun?
I just, something about it, I feel like a major, she had red hair and she went to a black and pink
big change
down the middle. It's a pretty big change.
It's a pretty significant change.
It's not like you're going from a redhead to a brunette.
Well, and it's like that's something that's a major change. So I'm just like surprised she didn't like brainstorm it or like bring it up at all. That is, I don't know. But it might be something that she's really excited about and has wanted to do for a long time. So
more power to her. I truly do not care. But I think
it's surprising that it didn't come up. But
if I put myself in this friend's shoes, I would probably not be as upset as this guy is, but there would definitely
he's really taking it to heart.
Losing sleep. I mean, dear Lord, it's not that serious, but there would definitely be 2 or 3 days where I'd be like, God, I wish you had told me about that. It doesn't look terrible.
I think your mom had to get used to your beard.
Yeah, but that's my mom.
She hated it.
Yeah, but again, that's my mom.
Yeah.
It's different. It's like...
It's different when it's...
It's a completely different relationship.
Yeah.
I don't think my mom likes the mullet. I know my dad doesn't like the mullet. Again, mom and dad, I don't see them every day. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I guess it's just a different relationship.
I think it's normal to want your partner to find you attractive.
Yes.
And so if you're considering a change, you're like, oh, well, I kind of want their input on it. It's okay to ask.
What would you feel if you did this without talking to the person? You come home and you get this response. Doesn't that make you feel like,
devastating.
Right?
That would be devastating. And that's why I'm saying, like, maybe don't offer up your opinion without being asked and find a way to make it low stakes.
Dude, how do you live in that relationship, though? How do you live in that relationship? If this is really making him feel like this, which we can judge him for that regardless, that's a little over the top.
It's over the top,
right?
I agree.
I'm not going to bat for homeboy here. Get over it, dude. You're 22. It's fine. But how are you not going to give your opinion? And everything about her has changed in your eyes. This guy is probably like, I hate this. You know what I mean? You have to give your opinion at that
I think you can find a different way to bring it up that's a little bit different from I hate your new hair, but maybe saying like, this is a really big change. What inspired it? Like, what made you want to change your hair?
Because then, listen, that conversation goes, that's a big change. What inspired it? And then the lady's going to be like, oh my God, he hates it.
Or like to say like, I love you. I think you're beautiful. I was so surprised when you did this. Like, tell me about it. I don't think that's a negative thing.
I don't think there's a way to get around you just hating it.
Then he needs to get over it.
That's the thing. Like, or
it's kind of, I gotta be honest, it is a bit of an immature response.
Dude, he's 22, of course. Yeah. This is the most immature response of all time. But the girl is 21 as well.
Yeah.
So it's like they're young.
They're very young.
These types of things happen.
Yeah.
People go and get random piercings. You know, it's like you're out, you're drunk, you get a tattoo. It's like this stuff happens. Mm-hmm. You have to be, it didn't change the person fundamentally.
I think that's important to remember.
That's the key.
And maybe that's the way that he's going to come to terms with this. It might just be something that he just kind of needs to see for a few weeks and get used to.
Oh, I think he'll get used to it. But also, if you don't get used to it, you then have to realize maybe you were in this relationship for the wrong reasons. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If a physical change can cause this much
distress,
chaos in your life, maybe you are with this person because of their physicality. Mm-hmm. And guess what? That's not going to last. Mm-hmm. It's just not. Yeah. Humans change. They grow old.
We get wrinkles.
They get wrinkly. Things happen. Like you cannot base a relationship on the physical pillar of humanity. It doesn't work. Yeah. Or you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
You're going to be on your sixth wife by the time you're 50. You know?
Yeah.
So that would be my big thing is like really think about, is it the hair? Or now has the veil been pulled away from my eyes and I really don't like the person that you are?
Yeah, that's worth considering.
I think that's where you start.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just can't stop running this in my head of her coming home and him just being like, it looks great. I really like it. And like tears are coming down.
I just have to say, she probably knows that he doesn't like
Guaranteed.
It.
Do you think this guy has a poker face? Right. He's writing. Look at how long this is.
Oh my God.
It's like 4 paragraphs worth of I hate this. Yeah, you think this kid has a poker
like
face?
If he's like not sleeping, like I guarantee she knows.
So funny to me that this is causing you so much distress.
Yeah, that's
guy. Like
there's just
life's too short.
You've got to have bigger fish to fry.
I know.
In your life. I mean, get a job.
Okay, I land on this. Like, I think that you should tell your partner if you're going to do a major change. If you don't, I don't think that you should expect incredible results from the first time that they see you.
I think you should expect surprise.
Exactly. But then a mature human being may be able to then say, you know what? I did prefer your hair this color. Mm-hmm. It is your body. It is your hair. You may feel more comfortable with this hairstyle. Cool. I'll get used to it.
I remember in high school, you like dyed your tips red.
Yeah.
I really didn't like that.
I don't care.
And yeah, exactly. See? Well, and we were just kind of like friends, like maybe had just started dating at this point. So that was not a point in a relationship where I was going to say, I think your hair looks kind of stupid.
I'm going to bring that look back. It's a good look. I'm going to dye the back of my mullet red.
I would prefer that you didn't.
Red.
I would prefer that you didn't.
And I'm not going to tell you. And then one podcast, I'm just going to be like, and I'm gonna show you, and you're going to lose it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that something?
Because you don't have a poker face either.
No, I don't. But yeah, I mean, and again, it would have not stopped me from being interested in dating you.
Because
it's hair.
It's hair.
At some point, you're going to cut it off.
Right.
But I did not prefer it. And had we been dating for 3 years, I would have said, you know what? Next time you get your hair cut, maybe don't dye it red again.
Right. Yeah.
And I know you, and I know you wouldn't have been upset about that.
No, because again, like for me, I want to look a certain way that I'm comfortable with, but that you are also attracted to and proud of in terms of like how I present myself to the world. Same. So, even when I do stupid hairstyles like this, it's like, this is still professional enough in my realm of career that it's like I'm not, I don't have a spiked mohawk and I'm losing jobs because of it.
I remember there was one time I picked out a new pair of glasses and you didn't really like them.
There's been a lot of stuff that you wear that I don't like.
Yeah. And you tell me.
I make fun of it all the time.
Yeah, you do.
That is a defense mechanism.
But I remember those glasses because we were like kind of newer, like probably at this same point. And I was a little bit sad about it.
Oh yeah?
I was.
Oh man.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, I really liked your old glasses better. Like you didn't
really?
and I think you told me is like, yeah, you
I'm
didn't
brutally honest.
You didn't send me a picture of these new glasses that you were thinking about. It would have been nice to be included in the decision. And I said, well, I've bought them, so I guess I wish you liked them, but I'm not these are my glasses for the next 2 or 3 years, so I'm sorry. And you got it, like it wasn't an issue, but I was kind of like, oh.
What's so funny for me is like I don't give any thought to clothing in any way, shape, or form. So if somebody were to make fun, like I wear anime t-shirts every day. Like if somebody were to make fun of what I was wearing, I'd be like, haha, yeah, well. I don't care. So I then present that same energy to other people like you,
and you
who may put a little bit more thought into their outfit.
Comments on my clothes. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
it's okay. And I know you, and I'm going to wear what I want to wear. So whatever.
Well, there you go. Get over it, dude. You should not be writing.
It shouldn't be this big of a deal.
A 3,000 word essay on Reddit about your
really
girlfriend's hair.
It really is a long one.
Anyway, that'll do. Let's wrap this bad boy up.
All right.
We had to do 2 podcasts really back to back because Sarah's going out of town. I am super, super low energy. I just don't feel very creative.
You know, I think there's a lot of research that boredom is good for creativity.
Sitting around. Well,
yes.
Let me tell you what. When you're gone this weekend, boredom is what I'm going to be doing.
So you might have a wash of creativity flow over you. I think it's important. They actually have done like research on this, but
yeah, I think I've read some of that.
Yeah, people who aren't
creative people need like time to be like not
quiet.
Creative. Yeah, not
creative, just bored.
I'm there,
like not staring at the TV all day.
This is the problem.
Doing your phone.
Even when I feel like this, I sit in front of the computer and I'm like, make a reel. Make a video, like make a podcast, make something.
Go just be quiet. Go sit, go read a book, go meditate.
The problem is what I normally do is go take a walk, but the pollen is actively trying to murder me. So I'm stuck in this house walking back and forth.
Go walk around the track in the gym.
Ain't no track in the gym.
There's one at the LA Fitness, I thought.
There's no track.
Well, go walk on the treadmill.
Baloney. Oh, one housekeeping thing. The Black Bear Barbell podcast is now available on Spotify.
Yay!
And it should also be available on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts by the time this episode comes out, so that's soon. Apple Podcasts is just miserable.
Really?
To try and deal with. Spotify was like, yeah, you're good.
Easy breezy.
Go ahead. So we're on Spotify. All the old episodes have been uploaded, and you can catch up and then be with us as we go. Mondays, 7 a.m. They're going to be coming out. But some people have been asking me, where's the audio version? We figured it out.
Yay!
The audio version is here. So please like this video on YouTube, but also go to Spotify or whatever Apple Podcasts, rate us, review us, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Send it around. We like doing them. We hope you like listening to them.
Yeah.
You got anything else to say to the people?
Have a great week.
Have a great week, everybody. We hope you really, really succeed in whatever endeavors you're doing. Hit me up in the comments if you have any questions or you want to battle over some nutrition facts, because I will go to battle with you. Have a great rest of your week and a great rest of your day. We love you. Goodbye.
Bye.